Record. Welcome everybody to this late starting Zoom meeting. I'm obviously still on French south of France holiday time. Haven't quite got back into the real world. Well, I went over to France and I was teaching for a day near Nice. And Kirsty, who's usually in this meeting, invited me. She's not able to come today. So I was teaching for a day and managed to have a nice break as well. So, what have you all been up to? Have you been busy? Give me a thumbs up if you've been extremely busy, or give me a wave if you've been quite busy. Okay, yeah, all right, good. Good mixture there. Um, so I had an email from Grant actually, who's looking a bit dark there, mate. You're looking a bit like you maybe can't do much about that, but
The lamp that I have won't fit. All the plugs in Vietnam are a bit doolally crazy, and the only plug that's there, I'm going to try and sort it out. So hold on, wait
yeah,
there.
all right. Well, I'll just say that Grant took some ideas from our last meeting. Do you remember if you were here, we talked about voices in the park, and we looked at this picture book, which should remind those of you who were here about these four different characters telling the story of their visit to the park. Well, Grant had a go at doing some drama workshops based on that and had some great success. Oh, look, Grant, there you are. Fantastic. Um, and he also has suggested that he would like to develop this into a performance. So that's one topic for us to talk about. I've got some suggestions as well. Um, I did think that we could play a warm-up game of giving gifts, giving presents, however you like to describe them. That would be a quick warm-up game. I could also talk to you about, let me have a look at my notes here. Um, oh, wrong meeting. Here we go. Right. Yeah, I thought also if people didn't know what essence machines are, those are really good fun. Um, and if you wanted something a bit more meaty to do some improvisation, I've got an activity from my first drama book. I'm going to wave at you now. This one, it's still selling really well. Basically, this book contains all my favorite activities from 30 years of teaching. Um, I've done another 20 years nearly, probably about another 15 years of teaching on top of that since I published it. Um, so there's an activity in that which I really like called Scene from Your Life, as in SCENE. And the idea is that in groups, one person tells a true story from their lives and the others act it out. There's more to it than that, but those are some things that I've got that we could look at. So, just throwing things open, is there anything that I've mentioned so far that you're particularly interested in, or would you like to throw anything else into the mix? While you think about that, cheers, cup of tea time. Okay. Well, it looks like I'm going to be the leader, which is makes sense, really. Um, Yeah, my head's not quite together today, is it? Let's face it. But Sheila is raising her hand. Hooray.
Hi, hi, David. Lovely to see you, and I hope you had a good time in France.
Yes, I did.
Since our last meeting, I started my first drama group, and I did buy the book you recommended, and I did an exercise that went very well last week from the book Anthony Browne, Zoo.
Oh,
We
yeah.
did some work from that. I just thought I'd share that with
Well,
you.
that's great. So Zoo is by the same author, Anthony Browne,
Yeah.
who wrote this book that we're talking about, um, Voices in the Park. Um, There is something else actually that occurred to me that would be interesting, linked to Voices in the Park, is that I have a video of the activity Teacher in Role. Let me just find this. And yeah, that's it. So there's an English teaching expert, drama teaching expert called Cecily O'Neill. And I've got a lovely video of her explaining Teacher in Role, and she uses Voices in the Park as one example. So that would be on theme as well. So lots of things to talk about. Um, just before then, I dive into one of the things I've mentioned. Sheila, I'd like to come back to you and just ask what you did with Zoo by Anthony Browne.
Yeah, so last week I sort of explored two things. We were looking at tension and conflict in story, and also sort of oppression. I work in a library here, so we have a whole section which is actually called Wild, and I was able to take the group to see the taxidermy animals, but there's a real life story that we have of a bear that actually our library used to be a zoo, and one of the taxidermy bears, believe it or not, actually lived in the zoo in
Yeah.
Doncaster. It's quite a sad thing. So that bear has a real life story of being caged here and actually escaping back in Victorian times, and was recaught. So I was able to sort of tie it in and to go back, and we sort of used the orangutan image that's suggested in the book that you suggested. But what's incredible, one of my pupils is autistic and actually ended up writing his own monologue. It was really quite amazing. So that's what we did last week anyway.
Well, that's when you remind yourself or find out that drama reaches parts that other methods don't reach. And
Indeed.
I think many of us, I can see some nodding heads, can remember times when somebody in the group suddenly shone in a way that they hadn't shone before. And it can just really get through to people perhaps who are sometimes challenged by more academic methods, or otherwise are challenged as this autistic person has been. Well, that's great to hear. And it gives us all encouragement, I think, to hear a story like that. Over to Grant, if you wouldn't mind just summarizing what you did with your group related to Voices in the Park.
Yeah, so I went out literally the next day and went to the library at the school and got her to fish it out, and went straight into it. In fact, I went down to a printing shop, and for 50p, I've got 10 copies of the whole book.
Okay,
It's
right.
so cheap. I couldn't believe it. Anyway,
Yeah.
I am in Saigon. So I've given it all out, and what we've been doing is today they were all all had to choose an inanimate object, like the sculpture, like a sculpture or a bin or the path and stuff like that. And so we've been playing around with what they can see, how did they get there, and what do they like about where they are in the park or wherever they are. But I want to kind of do it feed it into. I don't know whether or not to have. There's like on a Tuesday group there are 8 children. So whether or not I want to do a full on show where I get the parents in and stuff like that. It's only an after school club, so it's not as though I have to, have lights and all that malarkey. It's just literally they just coming in, the parents and some of the teachers, just to see what we're doing. I just wanted to put it out there what maybe ideas
Mm.
people might have that I could do it into a 20-minute, 25, show.
Mm, nice.
Yeah, okay. I know you've got some ideas as well, but let's
I do
brainstorm.
have some ideas. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, what age are the children?
So it's year 5 and 6 on a Tuesday, and then year 3 and 4 on a Wednesday. And then I work with this other, they're kind of Vietnamese school, where there's only 8 of them.
Mm.
Um, and they range from like 6 up to 11.
Right. So with the other groups, they range from about 7 to 11 as well, I think. I've just worked
Uh,
out.
well, 7 till 9, and then
Seven.
9 till 11. Yeah.
Right, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think that's great because I think that's a good age group for the book uh,
Yeah.
to start off with. Um, I mean, if I was looking at this in terms of performance, the first thing that strikes you about the book is you've got these four characters, haven't you?
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah.
Who are four storytellers as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and they each have a different take. Um, and it could be as simple as in groups, they take one of the characters and they make one, two, or three freeze frames based on what they think is key about that character and their attitude to the others.
Yeah.
Um, and then you could bring those freeze frames to life with action clip where you clap your hands and they bring it to life for 10, 15 seconds. Once you've done that, they could then develop those little clips of action and speech
Yeah.
into a longer improvisation so that you literally have the four versions of the story coming together as a jigsaw as they do in the book.
Mm.
Does that sound achievable or is that a little bit too advanced?
No, that's absolutely, yeah, that's perfect because that means I'm involved as well.
Mm,
And
mm.
it looks as though I'm directing them as,
Yes.
the audience is watching is being there as well. So that would work brilliant.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. And that also takes it away from the idea that the parents are coming to see a polished production.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, they're coming to see what their kids do
Yeah, work in
and also
progress. Yeah.
getting to know the teacher and how they work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Um, what other ideas did you have around this?
Well, I really like what we did today, where when we had the inanimate objects and the inanimate objects were chatting to each other
Yeah,
about, dogs usually peeing on them,
yeah,
and just having a chat. Like, oh, I really like it. It's a lovely day today, isn't it?
yeah.
But here comes someone else. Oh God, another dog. Oh, watch out. That sort of thing. I really like that
Okay. Well,
because
that
Anthony Browne is really good at sort of adding little elements like all the lampposts have hats on and stuff like that, and
yes. Yeah. Well, that fits really well into this video that I looked at about half an hour ago with Cecily O'Neill. So I think I'll show you some of that. There's also a section about dogs talking to their owners, and it might give you a few more ideas to throw into the mix. Um, but before I do that, I thought it might just be good to do something a little bit interactive with those of us who want to play as a group. And that is an activity that I learned back in the 70s, actually. Yeah, I know. A long time ago, let's say. And it was then called essence machines. Although, if I was explaining it to kids nowadays, I would probably call it a GIF, as in those little images that flash and repeat on a web page or in an email. So, the idea of an essence machine, it goes back even before that to the idea of machines. So, how many of you have ever played a drama game where you had to be part of a machine making some kind of repeating action and sound? Yeah, I can see maybe some nods of are there. So this was something, way back. I'm not going to even talk about what decade it might have been, but way, way back in time. Hi, those who have joined us, Nabs and Karen, and all the others whose faces I can't see, but Jane, hiya. Um, and anybody else who wants to switch on, do so. We've got quite a few people here today, but I understand that some people might be driving, working, doing all sorts of other things while they watch this, so that's fine too. Um, so, an essence machine is where you make a repeating sound and action related to a theme. So, the way you do it is you get everybody in a circle, you give a theme. So, for example, you might say a restaurant, and then people step in, the first person steps in and makes some kind of repeating sound and action. And if you're teaching English, then I would encourage them to use words where possible. So you might need to tack this onto a lesson where you have been teaching vocabulary that they can use. So, for example, the first person comes in and says, can you bring me a cup of tea? Can you bring me a cup of tea? Can you bring me a cup of tea? And they literally repeat it like that. It has to be really short. Somebody else would come in and maybe stand next to them and say, yes, of course, here you are, sir. Yes, of course, here you are, sir. And of course, they have to time it as well. So one's going, can I have a cup of tea? Yes, of course, here you are, sir. Can I have. Anyway, I don't need to act it out more than that because I think you get the idea. And then other people add themselves in. They could be something separate. For example, they might decide that they're going to be a cook. And so they might go, oh, this is catching on fire. Oh, this is catching on fire. Somebody else comes in with a fire extinguisher. Don't worry. And the idea is, as I'm trying to do here in my little Zoom frame, is to use your body as much as possible. Okay, so it's a machine, it should move, and you want people to interact. You want them to use different levels. So some are low down, some are high up. As in, I had somebody sitting down and ordering, a waiter standing up, and so on. So when people step into the space, they can relate to other things that are going on or set up something that is unrelated that other people might then link to. So, anybody ever played that game? Okay, it's really fun and it's really it's great because you don't need much. You don't need much language. So you could even give students phrases that they could use beforehand. Or maybe, if you've been doing a story about a particular theme, then they've got the vocab and the ideas to use around that. Um, I've done it with a football match. That was really good fun. Goal! Ref, it's a foul, or whatever it might be. So, what I'm suggesting as a warm up is that we take the theme of the park. Okay. So, everybody it's going to be tricky to do on Zoom, but we can have a go. Um, so, can you start to think about who you might be in a park, or you could be an object, ideally one that makes a sound, or you could even be, as Grant was talking about earlier on, a dog or an animal that speaks. So it could, what are you doing? Or whatever it might be. So it might be a mixture of animal sound and speech, right? So,
I have a question. Sorry, David.
questions,
I
fire
have a
away.
question. Yes. How do we avoid a cacophony, or is it already
Yeah,
is it normal to speak one over the other?
there will be overlapping speech and sound.
Overlapping.
So one of the things that this teaches is to listen to other people. So if you've got somebody ordering a cup of tea and somebody bringing one, obviously that's easy because it's A, B, A, B. and they should be able to work that out. What you might get is like a little cluster of people bringing cups of tea and drinking cups of tea, and then another one of cluster over here with things happening in the kitchen. Um, so yes, it will be cacophonous. That's the first thing to say. It will be crazy, but that also makes it fun. All right. Obviously, that limits you depending on where you're teaching. Um, but it could even last, for half a minute, and that's going to be as noisy as it's going to get. Then you can do some really fun things. So you can play the machine at slow motion. You can speed it up. Can I have a cup of tea? Can I have a cup of tea? Can I have a cup of tea? Yes, sir. Here you are. Yes, sir. Here you are. Or can I have a cup of tea? You know, as you can tell, I love playing this game. And the students too. So I usually just pretend there's a button and I just go slow motion, and they all start doing it slowly. So that reduces the volume as well. Um, and then you can then do it fast as well, and then normal speed. You could even do it silently. You can do it you could do it in reverse. Tea cup of, please. Tea. I don't know. I've just made that up. It might be a bit complicated. But it would be worth a try with older students. And then the other thing that you can do, say you've got 20 kids and they're being a bit cacophonous, you could use what I call the spotlight. So I say I'm going to shine a spotlight over different parts of the machine. So I go over to the kitchen people and hold my hand over and say action, and they all come to life, and the others watch. And then I go over to the waiter's table or whatever might else be going on. Do you see what I mean?
Mm.
So those are quite a few different tricks that you can use. So I suggest that just to experience the cacophony, we all do it at the same time. So we're all going to do something, or maybe we should introduce them one by one. So can you switch your microphones on, everybody? And bear in mind that Zoom will automatically cut out most of the sound, so it will definitely sound weird, all right? But I'm going to go. Who's got an idea to start us off with? Put your hand up if you've got one. Okay, Jane's going to go first. Who else got an idea? Sheila's going to go next. Svetlana, Grant, Patricia, Ritu, and the others then join in when you want, all right? And we'll see what it's like. So, Jane, off you go.
Good boy.
Oh yeah, we're in the park. Excellent. And
We're in the park.
thank you for reminding us.
Good boy.
Okay, somebody else? Who did I say next? Sheila.
Where's the bench? Where's the bench?
Yeah, and Jane, you're going to keep going, okay?
Oh.
Yeah, and Sheila keep going, and then Grant come in now.
The bench.
The bench is over there. The bench is over there.
Good boy.
It's over there.
All right, next
The
person.
bench is over there.
Svetlana, got one?
The bench is over there.
Good boy. Where's the bench?
Don't
The
worry,
bench
make it
is over
cacophonous. Just
there.
join in. Just start it.
Good
The
boy.
bench is over there.
Where's
The
the
bench is
bench?
All right,
over
I'll freeze you
there.
because we got freeze. Now that was lovely. Should we give them a round of applause? I think Svetlana, you didn't come in. Maybe you were waiting for an opportune moment. It's quite difficult, isn't it?
Mhm.
Especially on Zoom. So I think, having experienced that and tried it out, what I would think we should do next is to have another 3, okay? Because we could actually hear and see what they were all doing. What was that? Was that me? Oh, it's me echoing. All right, it's because played on somebody's microphone and then came back in through their computer from another continent. Okay. So how about Svetlana, you're going to go next. Then who else has got an idea? Nabs and then Patricia. All right. So you three. And then after that, we'll do one with Ritu. Or maybe Ritu, if you can put yours into this, you can put it in. But let's go with Svetlana first. Go.
Get out of here. It's my bench.
Okay, good. Keep
Get
going.
out of here. It's my bench.
Is it Nabs
That's
next?
very mean. I'm going to the swings. That's
And
very mean.
Svetlana,
I'm
keep
going to the
yours
swings.
going.
That's
My
very
bench.
mean.
Get
I'm
out
going
of
to the
here.
swings. That's very mean.
My
I'm going to the
bench. Get
swings.
out
Who's
of
going
here.
next?
That's mean. That's really mean. I'm
Patricia?
going to the swings. That's
My bench. Get out of here.
very mean. I want to go to the swings.
All right.
Where did you leave my nuts?
Breathe. Okay. We
That's
heard
very
two of
mean.
them.
I'd like to go to my swings.
Okay, stop. It's a bit easier to stop people when you're not on Zoom, when you're doing it in the studio or in the classroom or wherever. You've got the idea, haven't you? You can see how it works. And the big downfall of Zoom is that you can only see like this part of a person. Obviously, in the drama lesson, they could be using their whole body, their legs, and so on, and make it, more detailed, more interesting to watch than we can do here. However, that is perfect. That's how you make an essence machine. Have you got any questions about that or thoughts? Okay, while you're thinking of questions and thoughts, just let's open the chat window because I can see there's a message here. I use this musical piece to inspire the musical company. What's that piece about then, Nabs, that you've sent a link to?
Hey, so I'm currently doing a scheme of work with my year nines that are 13 and 14 years old, and we're doing physical theatre and mask work. And part of sort of leading up to getting them to make their masks and performing with masks on is to get them to do this machine and working together, building that cooperation, that focus with each other. And so I had everyone listen to this music first and then decide on an action to go with the music. I did not show them the video. So just listening to the music, and then they had to make an action for how this an object is flying across the room. And that was through this music. And again, you can slow the music down, speed it up, and it's really, really good. The actual video is impressive. It's a real video. Yeah, it's just a ball being flown about and making all these
Oh, I
sounds.
like this kind of music, by the way.
Yeah. And with the different sounds, they would do different
That's
actions.
very mesmerizing.
Yes.
And a brilliant idea. So thanks
Thank
for that. Let's take that link, copy that link if you think you might need it later. And if I remember, I'll put it into the info I send out afterwards. Can you type in some themes that you think you could use for Essence Machine? So we've had park and we've had restaurant. And we've got something in Svetlana's native language coming in here, which I unfortunately can't understand. A noisy classroom. Alien spaceship, nice. Yeah, I like fictitious ones as well. School, obviously. Factory, yeah, that's could be a good way in. A marketplace, really good. Zoo. I also mentioned football match, which I'll type in.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
What was that?
I like the football match one. That would be awesome.
Yeah, it was. I played it with, as you know, I mainly work with teachers, and I played it with a group of Spanish teachers from Madrid, and they're quite keen on football. And they had a lot of fun with it. And obviously, it leads to a lot of action. Hospital, yeah, library. So all of those could work really well. It was one of my favorite games, Essence Machine, that I learned when I first started learning about drama games. And it really is worth bringing back. As I say, you can call it a GIF to the kids, and hopefully that will be quite easy for them to understand.
Oh, hang on, boomerang.
GIF or GIF, however you like to pronounce it. Can be both. Forest or beach, a boomerang. How would we do that?
So this is actually a thing on Insta. Instead of calling it a GIF, it's a boomerang where the picture goes back and forth about what you're doing.
I like that because GIF is a bit of a weird word, isn't it?
Very, yeah. But it's actually
So
a
boomerang might become my new go-to name for the game. That's good. Especially, so on those boomerangs, do they go forward and then backwards?
Yeah,
Oh,
it can do.
So that could be a really good variation, couldn't it? Yeah. Very
Definitely.
nice. And challenging for them to think about saying phrases backwards as well. I don't know if that helps their grammar learning or not. Okay, so there's some great games there. So how about I show you a bit of this video? I won't kind of show you it all. And I think I have got it online somewhere as well, but I'm going to show you it from my computer. Let me find it again, first of all. Yeah, there it is. So if I open that and then share my screen and make sure sound is switched on. So I have edited a YouTube video which looks at role play. And so I'm going to show you a few bits of it. So it's about teacher in role in particular. So it's about where the teacher takes on a character to influence the drama.
I've been told this is a very scary forest, but it just looks okay to me. I mean, the sun is shining now.
She's created a story with the class where she is a wizard who sends them on a dangerous quest to recover her missing children.
I would advise any teacher who isn't terribly confident about working in a role to choose a role that isn't too far from her own teacher persona. It's wise not to be the absolute ultimate authority, because that almost gives you too much power and it's a little hard to relinquish it. Unless you know the magic word, you cannot enter.
Magic wizard, come alive. I'll kill you till you die.
It may be a mistake, particularly if you happen to be a very good actor, to actually get into character, because you're in make-believe in a way that the children are not really able to join you at that level.
Yeah, so can everybody hear that okay? Yeah, I can see a nod there. So this bit isn't related to voices in the park, but the bit coming up is, okay? So this bit is about a wizard. And just some points that she made there that I just want to reiterate. If you're playing the role of a character in drama, and it's often in something that we call process drama, where the children are going through a situation as though they are living it as characters. You can either be equal to the other characters, senior to them, or higher status, or you can be lower status. So, for example, if it's a wizard, it could be she's the wizard and she could be saying, right, this is my palace and you do what I say. Okay. Now that is quite an authoritative role and it's not one that most people would like. The great thing about teacher in role is that it gives you a chance to not be the person in authority. So another way to play it would be to say, hello, I am the fairy that helps the wizard. But the trouble is, the wizard has lost his spell book. So I wondered, do any of you know some magic spells? Okay. So as soon as you do that, you are giving the children the authority. They are of higher status than the fairy. You are asking them for help. And you'll see a little bit of this as we go on.
Cecily has chosen the role of a wizard, but she is not all-powerful. She is a wizard that needs the children's help.
Can you do something that I can't do? Could you go and find my son and my daughter and bring them back here to me?
Think of a word to describe that feeling and go!
Sarah's running a workshop based on the book Voices in the Park that she's been reading with her class. She's invited Cecily to observe her.
What hidden word is suspicious? Look at that, it's fantastic. Suspicious. Good. Let's go to...
Sarah has chosen the role of the park keeper. Some teachers find getting in and out of role clearly and convincingly a difficult task.
Right. I'm very glad that you can make this meeting today. As Chief Park Keeper of Southwark Park, I am very pleased that you have taken time out of your very busy schedules to come and join me in this important meeting.
Okay, so question, how did she get into role in that situation? What did she do?
She put a jacket on.
Yeah, so if you are doing teacher in role, and it can be a very simple 1-minute activity even. You could put on a hat, you could put on a jacket, just to represent when you're playing a different character. Some teachers like to go out of the room and then come in as a different character. So that's another way that you can do it. I'm going to jump forward in the video to show you a little bit about dogs, which I mentioned earlier on. And then I thought we could have a go ourselves in trying out some of this. Jane Ross has said, pure Dorothy Heathcote, mantle of the expert in the chat. That is right. Well done. Okay, I'm going to share again the video and jump forward a bit. That's not the right one. Let's find the right one we were watching. Teacher in role. There we go. So I'm just going to go forward now to a bit about the dogs, which I thought might help Grant with his ideas. Here we go. Oh, yeah. So this is a teacher's workshop.
I usually ask you to be adults, and he said because we know how to be children, we need to learn how to be adults. I think if the children are in adult roles, then more can be expected of them, and behavior is easier to monitor.
Mud, 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 and more mud. Bring on the mud.
I want to be stronger. I need to tell you that it's not my fault. Runts are weak. You need to help me. I want to carry on being the baby on your front.
It's using animals is something that all children can relate to. Like, everyone knows what an animal is. So by starting off with, think about what it is to be an animal, to be a pet, and then expanding that out into, but what if it was, you know, I don't know, something mystical like a fairy or something from a fictional story.
Exactly, so you could use it as a jumping off point. One of the things I like about using or beginning with a pet is that it puts kids, for example, especially little kids, in a caring relationship with each other. And even if it's their best friend or something. So, you know, if in a classroom with time, I'd say, well, you know, look after your pet. Where does it live? What do you feed it on? I need a little bit of research.
So one of the important factors to remember when giving children roles is the power relationship between those roles.
Think of one message they would want to get across to human beings in general. Could you think of like one strong message or slogan?
I'd just like to tell my owner and all the other humans out there that dogs are man's best friend, and I'd just like a bit more meat on my bone.
Okay. So I'm going to pause it there and stop the share because of time. Um, but hopefully that will give you some ideas. How many of you have, oh, first of all, first question, how many of you have heard of teacher in role before? Raise a hand or, um, not that many. Okay, but one or two, that's great. So the whole thing about role play is we've talked earlier on about kids being dogs or kids being lampposts. You know, that's something that we're quite familiar with in drama teaching. Often the kids will be in role, but the teacher being in role can bring a whole dimension to the lesson. And rather than just giving instructions all the time, like for example, you could be a park keeper, or you could be in the Voices in the Park story, you could be the unemployed dad who's looking for a job, you know. And that way you can inject some drama into the situation directly. So, for example, as the dad, I could come in and sit on a bench. I'd find a hat to put on and say, when I sit down, I'm going to be a different character, and I could have my newspaper to read and say a few things like, "Oh, not bad weather today." Mm. Senior executive role. No, don't think I can do that. TV media presenter. Sounds good, but don't know much about it. Oh, hello everyone. What are you doing in the park? Get the kids to talk. We're walking our dogs. We've come to play. Um, don't suppose any of you know about any good jobs going, do you? You know, so it could be anything. You can lead the kids into a discussion whereby maybe they, you know, if you primed them that they're going to help this lonely man, this unemployed man. Yeah, my dad runs a fish and chip shop and he's looking for somebody to help on Tuesday evenings, you know. Or it could be that you could prompt them to say, I'm not really very good at applying for jobs. Do any of you know anything about that? You know, depending on the age group, you know, they might come up with things. Well, my mum has got a CV. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's a list of all the jobs, you know. Do you see what I mean? So you could lead them in. And one of the most important things that Cecily mentioned there is that you don't need to do this as a professional actor. So it really is, you're just playing a role, just like the kids were. Okay. So, any questions on that little bit of the session so far? Teacher in role. So how about we go into some breakout rooms? We've got a little bit of time left. And if you're happy, I can go on for another 5 minutes after the hour because we started late. And it would be really nice if I put you into twos. I'm going to see if that works out. And one of you could be a pet, and the other one could be an owner. And you could both be in role. And I just want you to talk about maybe the dog is asking or the pet is asking something of its owner. And maybe just to devise a little bit of role play to show us. That's it. What do you think? Sound all right? I haven't got anybody saying no so far. So Patricia can't open her camera. She's going to try and come back. Okay. Let me find my breakout.
Fine now.
Great. Okay. I'm going to put you.
Sorry, clarify that quickly, David. You want us to, I mean, is it just an improv thing that you want us to do?
Yeah, it is really.
Or you want one of us to, you know, do you want us to do like the child, the teacher, the child, teacher and role, or does that no longer apply? You know what I'm asking?
I think that would be good. I think I was leaving it a bit open, but I'm really glad you asked that question because what you suggested is better than what I asked. than I suggested. So I think the idea of one of you could be a teacher, and it could be a dog or it could be an owner. So you could be the teacher as an owner talking to the children as pets, or it could be a pet, the teacher as a pet talking to the children and asking them for help or saying what you need, something like that, or a problem that you've got. So I'm going to say you can do that, but you could also do a little improvisation if you prefer. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes and create, I think, 3 breakout rooms, and I'll pop in to see you and answer any questions. So let me see. I need 4 breakout rooms, I think. So let me do that again. Recreate. I'm going to make 4 breakout rooms. See how that should work out. Okay, off you go.
We've got a human, and we've got, I think we've got 2 dogs, possibly.
Yeah.
Do you think we've got 2 dogs?
Yeah.
Well,
it's so hard for me
my
to see the dog.
dear, I want to know, I want to understand animals a whole lot better.
Right, you lot are really good, so I'm leaving this breakout room for you to get on with it.
Yeah.
Right. So let me be, for example, which pet? A cat? Can it be a cat?
Any pet.
Okay. Right. So shall I start or will you?
Well, I guess I'm the owner. Where is my pet? Oh, hello. Why did you run off like that? You shouldn't run off.
Well, I didn't really run off because I'm a cat, and you know that cats they like the freedom, they like to
I can't stop. I just gotta catch a squirrel. Get this lead off me. Get it off. Why can't you understand?
Bravo, that was good. I didn't know where to take this further. Okay, but that was good though. I think it's a good activity that we can take into the drama studio with the kids.
I think the children will absolutely love it, you know.
Yeah, they can their imagination can be wild. They'll really
Yeah.
take it to the next level. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But can I ask you what levels do you teach?
I'm in I do primary, and then I have one of my primary classes who have gone to college who asked me to keep them going. So I do have one college group that I'm, not as comfortable with, but we're enjoying ourselves. But they're students
I
I
teach in the
know.
primary as well. Yeah, so I
that my
do with between years 2 to year 5.
Okay. I've got years, the same primary. Yeah. Yeah.
So you said collège, donc vous êtes en France?
Ah oui, oui, je suis en France.
Ok, très bien, très bien. Moi, je suis à Singapour.
Ah, et comment tu parlais français alors?
Je viens de Pondichéry.
Ah.
Ancienne colonie française.
Ah, okay.
Okay. That's brilliant. That was great coincidence. Okay.
You two are getting on
that's
like
good.
a house on fire.
Sorry?
You're doing great. I'm going to bring everybody back and share what we did. But you've got a minute if you want to continue chatting.
Okay.
So the breakout rooms now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, you can unmute again if you like.
Okay, well, waiting for the others.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, David, this has been really useful for me because we're doing Dr. Dolittle this year. And so the children are having to do all this is be a great activity that I can throw in because we're doing about animal languages. And so it's fantastic.
Oh,
Very
great.
inspiring for me.
Awesome.
Really good to hear.
That was brilliant. Yeah, it was good. Good
Mathieu,
activity, David.
where do you
Absolutely.
teach, Mathieu?
I teach drama in the primary, French and drama.
Are you in France?
No, I'm in Singapore.
Oh, okay. Right. Fantastic. Okay, we've got a lovely collection of groups here. So I'm going to ask Mathieu and who was it? Karen. Have you got something that you could just give us a little bit of to show us what you were doing?
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just go again.
All right. Okay. So just now we were doing I was playing the owner and she played the pet, so I'm gonna resume where we started as well. So all right, Puppy, wanna go for a walk?
Yes, walk, walk, walk. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Now, walk, walk. I want to go, I want to go. Let's go.
I know it's your favorite part of the time, but wait, just give me a wait. I was gonna go fetch the leash.
Oh, it's so annoying. He always does this. He says, let's go for a walk. I'm ready to go for a walk. And now he's gone. Where's he gone? Where's he gone? I want to go for a walk. I need to go now.
Ah, there. I found the leash. Wait, give me a minute. Okay, remember, I'm gonna take you to the backyard and you've got to behave yourself.
The leash. I hate this leash. I need to catch squirrels. I need to catch them. The smells. I need the smells. Shh, 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 shh.
Oh, I'm going to stop you. Can we give a round of applause? That was so much fun. Really
it was
great.
fun.
Thank you.
And for those of you who weren't in the main room when Karen was talking a minute ago, she's using Dr. Dolittle as source material at the moment. So the idea of these animal improvisations is very apt for her. Okay, let's see. Jane, which group you were in? Could everybody switch their mics on who were in Jane's group? And give us a little bit of what
Ritu
you were
and
doing.
Grant.
You had three, right?
We've got three of us. Right. Now, my good dogs, we're going to play that game, and I'm going to throw the ball, and I want to know. Okay, Grant, are you ready? Are you ready? And you're going to play nicely with Ritu now. Yes? Right. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and here we go. Great. And Grant, Ritu, Grant's hidden the ball again. Come back, come. Great. Ritu, let's ask Grant why it is, and I know you both to be very clever animals, so can you explain to me, because I'd like to understand you guys a whole lot better. Why is it, Ritu, that you always bring the ball back? And Grant, when we play this game, you go hide it.
Yeah.
Well,
Hide it.
I love humans. Woof.
Well, thank you, Ritu. You're both such good dogs, but I wonder, do you have any ideas how we can make this game a whole lot better so we can all enjoy it anymore and Ritu doesn't feel so left out when you hide the ball away, Grant?
Hide and seek.
Hide and seek. And how's that going to work? Okay, so I wonder if Ritu and Ritu are going to put your paw up, we're going to hide our eyes. Okay, and I'm going to throw the ball, and you're going to find it, Grant, and you're going to go and hide with the ball. How's that? Okay. Woo! Okay, let's count to 5. We two. Can you count for me?
1,
Woof. Yes.
2, woof. 3, woof. 5, woof.
Okay, let's go, Ritu. Let's go. Go on, can you sniff, Grant? Shall we see where he is? Where did Grant go?
All right, I'm going to stop you there because I think it could go on. Let's give them a round of applause. Yeah. Wonderful little story going on there.
Very young children there, hey?
Yes.
Like 5-year-olds or something.
Yeah. So it reminded me that sometimes when you do this, younger children in particular, but even older ones as well, when you ask them to speak as the animal, they will say, "Arr, arr, 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 arr." And I simply say to them, if we could understand your animal, what would he or she say? So yeah, sometimes they will do that naturally, and that's quite good fun. And yeah, really, really nice. And also shows that you could play that with not just in twos, but you could do it in twos. It works really well with an owner and a pet. Okay, so Svetlana, I think, came late to the third group, but let's see what you came up with. And
we are going to improvise because there was a connection problem.
Okay.
Connection problem. So
yeah, which let's have you, Sheila. You need to switch on your mic. Where's it gone? Sheila can't find it. It's on the left of Zoom, on the left-hand side at the bottom. Or if you're on a phone or something, it might be somewhere completely different.
Can't you switch it on for her, David?
I'm trying. I can say ask to mute, but oh, she's done it. There she is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I?
Oh yeah, it's Patricia. That's it. We've got everybody now. So off we go. Let's see your improvisation. We're gonna love it.
Oh, there you go again. You ran off and now you've brought in a dead mouse. Why did you do that? Patricia.
Well, I didn't really run off. I was just playing with the mouse.
Svetlana, stop playing with her tail. Stop playing with Patricia's tail.
Well, sorry, I didn't hear that. What did you say?
I told Svetlana to stop playing with Patricia's tail.
I'm not playing with anybody's tail. I'm just waiting for you to give me food.
I saw you playing with Patricia's tail.
No, I'm not playing with her tail. Do you hear me?
What are you doing with it then?
I'm just trying to eat it up. I'm not playing with it.
But
this dog is so annoying.
Tail alone.
I'm very hungry. Do you hear me?
And Patricia, why did you bring in the dead mouse?
Because that was a thank you, my dear owner. It was a thank you because you always pet me and you give me food, and I just wanted to thank you.
But it's not a thank you. You bring in the dead mouse, and I would prefer it in future if you just thanked me without bringing in the dead mouse. Now, Svetlana,
can it be a bird?
Or the dead animal. Let's put it that way. No more dead animals in the house.
No more.
Svetlana, you do have some food.
I don't. No, I finished it. I finished it.
Let's give them a round of applause. Stop there. That was brilliant. Thank you. Again, a lovely little scene that could go on. So, having watched you all do this, I could see that this would work really well as a pair activity, definitely, without changing anything. And it probably helps if you give them something very specific, like a pet that wants to do something different today. You know, maybe they don't want to go for a walk. They want to go to the seaside and make sandcastles or something, you know. So that, you know, you could give them a particular task, maybe something the owner doesn't understand and the pet is trying to get through to them. And then with teacher in role, it could work well that, for example, you've got the class in the role of different pets, or maybe all the same pet, maybe cats, for example, and the owner has got a new cat, but she doesn't know how to look after it. Could anybody give her some advice? Yeah. And the kids could then give advice. I think you should just stroke us all day long, or whatever it might be, you know. Yeah. Any other thoughts on this before we round things up?
Yeah, I'd like to talk a bit about Mantle of the Expert and Dorothy Heathcote's work into that. And guys, there are some wonderful YouTube videos, I'm sure you're aware, David, like that Blakely and Blakely, I think it's called The Shoe Factory. And the thing that I've always liked about Dorothy Heathcote is, I mean, she's this unassuming Northern British lady, and she sort of talks like that, and she says, "Oh, what are we going to do in the factory today?" You know, and she really puts those children into the expert roles. And why it's so successful in that particular role play is that she really, you know, I mean, David, as you'd say, I mean, you don't have to be an expert actor, but she inhabits, she becomes that factory manager totally, and they all really play along. So I think it's that, in terms of setting up that make-believe, it's that kind of inner conviction that you're going to have absolute buy-in from your group, from your class, with whatever it is that you're setting up there. I think that helps.
I think that's right.
What's the name of the person you said, Dorothy?
Heathcote, Heathcote.
I'll type it in as well.
Yeah.
So just Google her. I've got a page about her on my website, and I think there's probably some links to the videos there as well.
Thank you.
There would be, I'm sure, because she's marvelous.
No, that's great. And the really good thing, Jane, is that you have linked to our next meeting, because next month we've got a guest speaker called Tim Taylor, who's going to come along and talk about his new book, which uses methods of Dorothy Heathcote and others, but he's pretty much an expert on Mantle of the Expert. He's been using it for decades as a teacher in real life, everyday situations in the classroom. And he still works with kids, but he also does a lot of work with teachers, and he's written a couple of books. So he's going to come along next meeting, and it's going to be very practical. He's going to go through one of the approaches from his book. And so I think you will all love that, and it will build on what we've done today and last week. So thanks very much, everybody. And I think we've ended up with a really great meeting, building on your suggestions and what you were doing and ideas that you've fed in. So that's it, guys. Any last things anybody would like to say to me or the group?
I've just got one quick. If anyone's got any suggestions linked to the railways, it's Rail 200 up here, and we're looking for drama activities that are linked to sort of transport and trains. My group, they are 12 to 16. So if anyone's got any ideas, I'd really welcome them.
What about using a linking device? What about using a linking device of actually having them all as a kind of organic train, like a machine with moving parts, and then breaking out into carriages from that and doing enactments within particular carriages on that train. And you know, when I say a linking device, you could use something like, I don't know, David, if you know that one, you know, it goes like, this old freedom train, it's been a long time in a coming, and there's none that can't afford it, so you gotta climb on board it, singing freedom, ooh, ooh, you know. So you get them all going around the room being like the freedom train, and then you can do like a freeze, and then you can set up, you know, like sitting next to each other, you know, in the carriages, whatever, and go into improv, or which you can then script. Obviously, you can, you know, create
Wonderful,
device
yeah.
theatre from it, and then you go back to the circular thing, which is a movement-based activity, and then into your next scene. You know, so you give it a structure that way. I don't know if that's helpful. Just
Very helpful. Great. Thank you very much, Jane. That's great. Wonderful.
Pleasure.
And
Thank
also
you.
as a warm-up game, you could do machines, but you
Yeah.
could actually base it on a real
Yeah.
machine, like George Stephenson's rocket.
Yeah.
You know, they could, if you study that with them or show them a picture and explain how it works, they could make their own version with the funnel and the pistons and the wheels and so on. And how could they fit that together and also bring in some of the sounds as well? What sounds would the pistons be making? What sound would the steam be making?
Lovely.
Sound would the coal fire be making?
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
So that could be a really good
Fantastic.
machine, actually.
Yeah. We've got some trains here, actually.
Of course. You're in a museum, aren't you?
Yeah, but we're also Doncaster, which was a big, you know, the home of the Flying Scotsman. So
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
yeah, but that's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great ideas.
And then, of course, you've got Harry Potter because he always goes to school by train. So if you wanted to take it into a fictional realm, you know, that
Yeah.
would be another thing that you could link to.
Very much. Platform 9 3/4. I've been there many a time because we go into King's Cross.
Okay, so you've seen people queuing up to have their photos taken there. So that's
at a
good.
museum, though, you could use it a lot, you know, like in your scenarios with train history, couldn't you?
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of the scenarios could be actually researched and historically based.
Yeah.
And you could give your children, like we were talking about teacher and role and whatever, give your children agency in terms of doing some of that research into different historical railway aspects that they could base those scenes on.
Thank you. Really great ideas. Thank you very much.
Right, brilliant. Okay, well, thanks for that. That's like a whole other topic that we've just come up with and talked about and got some ideas for. So let us finish the meeting. It's 3:15 in the UK, and lovely to see so many of you turning out and taking part. And Patricia, another time, Theatre of the Oppressed and Augusta Boal. Well, yeah, that's a great subject. I'm just copying your suggestion so I can paste it into my notes as a reminder for another time. Yeah, really good. Okay then, guys, shall we say goodbye and God bless and au revoir.
Oh, thank you.
See you next time.
Where in France were you, David?
I was in Antibes and Nice.
Oh my God!
They paid
A
me
little
to
village
go
for-
there. Otherwise, you know, it was hard to say no.
Lucky man, yo.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know, but at the same time, I might not say no to Doncaster. You know, if I was.
Please come up here. Everybody, please come up to Doncaster and come up to our museum.
Yeah, we definitely
free,
will
so.
come and visit your museum one day. That would be great.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
And Croatia. And Croatia.
Thank you, guys.
very
Thank you.
much,
Lovely
and I'll
ideas.
send the link
Great.
to the
Bye.
recording. All right.